in your pocket and you want to go for shopping. You decide, I want to use the 10,000 for meat, 5,000 for charcoal, 5,000 for beans, like that. So it's the same with water. So our role is to allocate and decide how much water each of the different users are. And you have to make sure that each user has a fair share, because you can get one user taking it all while others don't get it. So our role is more or less like a judge. We make sure that we allocate the water and judge and ensure that everybody gets what he has been allocated. We have water in rivers. For example, we have Lake Victoria, we have Lake Choga, Lake Albert, River Nile, and many, many other small rivers. So those ones, we call them surface water sources. But we also have water underground. Underground is the water that we tap through construction of borehole, shallow wells, and spring. But of course, we also have water that comes as rainfall, which we can tap through harvesting, say on the roof, or it is running on the surface. So water is both underground, on the surface, and also some of it comes as rainfall. Wetlands actually occur where there is water. So wetlands are stores of water. They filter the water and ensure that that water is actually available when we need it. So you cannot talk about wetland without water. A wetland will occur where there is water. But also a wetland is important as a storage reservoir of water. In Uganda, we have a number of water storage reservoirs. We have, for example, lakes. Lake Victoria, Lake Choga, Lake Albert rivers will store water. But also we have the wetlands, which are normally associated with those surface water bodies which store the water. Then, of course, we have water which we store in dams and valley tanks which we construct artificially. So wetlands are a very, very big store of water. And if they are not there, then it means you are depleting the storage of water, but also you are ensuring that that water is not treated. For example, in Kampala, when it rains, the water will run on the surface and go with a lot of garbage. Now, that water goes through streams, like for example, we have like an Chivubo channel and other streams that go into the lake. If all of that material was going to the lake without anything stopping that material, the lake would be full of plastics, would be full of garbage. So the wetlands that occur between Kampala and Lake Victoria are the ones which are helping us to remove those materials that come from the city. They reduce on the contaminants, and so that by the time the water reaches Lake Victoria, it is cleaner. And that's why we're insisting on having wetlands actually restored and protected. For us, from the water resources point of view, they are very, very important. If you, for example, store water in a pot or a tank, it is the same way. If the tank or pot has leakage, then the water will not be stored there. It will not actually hold the water you need. So the wetlands also stores, and once we degrade them, then in a way it is as if we are creating holes in our tank, and then the water will start going. By the time you realize there is no water to depend on, and also the water is not filtered. Government at the highest level, and I think viewers must have listened to the speech by His Excellency the President just recently, where he stressed the importance of restoring wetlands and getting people to get out of the wetlands. Many of the wetlands have been degraded. Many of them actually have been turned into gardens. Others, people have put their buildings. So you find that the wetland is not there. So government's plan is to make sure that the wetlands are restored and brought back. The wetlands, right now, the coverage of the wetlands is about 8.9%. And yet, naturally, the wetlands should be about 14%. So the effort of government right now is to restore, get those areas which were wetlands, which have been destroyed, to be brought back so that the wetlands can perform function. In his address, the President also highlighted the importance of wetlands in terms of rainfall formation. And he did indicate, and rightly so, that 40% of the rain we have in Uganda comes from wetlands. The wetlands will send water up the atmosphere, then it forms the clouds will condense and come back as rainfall. So wetlands are important in formation of rainfall, they're important in storing the water, they're important in treating the water. So government plan is to ensure that those wetlands which have been degraded are brought back, and those which are not yet degraded are protected. And that's why government has moved forward to put in place a number of measures. Number one is we have to ensure that the people are informed about where a wetland is and its boundaries. So we now have developed wetland maps We now know if you, for example, you're in an area and there's a wetland, and you want to know whether your area is in a wetland or how much of your area is in a wetland. Just come to the ministry here under the wetland management department. They have maps where they will show you where the wetland ends in your land. Then we are demarcating wetlands to make sure that one can know the boundaries. So many other things are being done as part of that effort. Of course, sensitization is very important, but I must say that Ugandans, we are very interesting people. Even when we know something, we tend to claim that we don't know. Now, of course, we have had a number of sensitization activities on radio, on TV, even some workshops, even physical engagements, but people will claim that they don't know. Now, of course, and where they are right, because they want to give an impression that nobody has told them, but the message of restoring wetlands has been around. It's not a new thing. Even telling people that please get out of the wetland, but people sometimes take things for granted. They say, this is the normal way. People we were talking will not get out. So we have, when we started evicting people, and even cancelling titles, in Kampala, many titles, over 300 titles, we cancelled a few years ago, about 2-3 years ago. Then people raised an alarm that you have not told us. People say, but we are not sure that it's a wetland. And some even went to court and put their injunctions. So government said, okay, if people are claiming that they don't know, hold on and engage them. But we are not going back. Even right now, we have said, if people are claiming that they have not been engaged, let's put the eviction on hold. We engage them and then we'll see what they will say. But also we have noted that some of the people who actually probably could have heard the messages may be moved away, and we have had information that some people got the messages, immediately sold the land to new people and moved away. So new people come think it is land that is available. So it could be a combination of that now. If they are right and say we didn't know, now this is the time to tell them, guys, if you bought land which is in the wetland. So government has decided that, okay, let's listen to the people. And obviously, when somebody requests you to maybe redo what you are doing or repeat your message, doing it is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of saying, okay, I'm ready to listen to you. If you didn't know, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and let you know. Now, after I've informed you, now I'm going to see what excuse you will give. But the government is not stopping. We are moving somewhere that we said, okay, listen to the people so that we move forward together. You heard some politicians within the city saying, oh, we are not involved, LCs. So government has said, okay, let's move forward. That's why you had that environmental committee within KCC that had not been informed is going to be formed so that we don't have anybody having an excuse. Yes, indeed. And again, if I can draw from what His Excellency the President mentioned, the President said, look, in the first instance, you shouldn't have been in a wetland. These are the areas where there is water. Now, if you go in an area where you're not supposed to be, you shouldn't ask me, but you went there, where were you? I always give an example that if we have traffic rules and regulations, where, for example, they say in this area, you don't drive beyond 50 kilometers. So even if there's no police, you're supposed not to go beyond 50 kilometers. Now, if you drive beyond 50 kilometers because you didn't say police, and for some reason a camera captures you and they get you to say, but where were you? Why didn't you stop me? So, ideally, the government is saying the law is clear, the messages have been clear, and many of these, by the way, are not ordinary people. Many of these are people who have gone to school, who know the law and all of that. So, to say that where were you? Should I be running after you to stop you from doing what you're supposed to do? So, again, people can raise a concern that we went there, where were you? We are saying maybe we're not there. Now we have come, you get out of where you are not supposed to be. We have better ways, but many times you find that people don't want actually to listen. Now, for example, restoration, we go through a number of stages. Whether the restoration of wetland, a riverbank, a forest, or even getting people out of the areas around the water bodies. We start by, first of all, getting people, we discuss with them, they get to know the challenges we are faced with, the causes, they are part of the discussion. Then we say, can you get out of this place so that really the wetlands can be protected, riverbanks can be protected, but also water can be protected. There are some who go away, There are others who don't go away. But as we tell them to go away, we are saying we can help you to get alternative sources of income. Now, what has been the message that the president has been passing across, and which we are moving forward? When you have a wetland, you recognize that the wetland is needed and is important. But you can also benefit from the wetland. For example, if we talk about rainfall, who's benefiting from rainfall? The good air. Of course, the water. All of us are depending on it. If there is no water, then you don't survive. You need water for drinking, you need water for bathing, for everything we do. So even the people in the wetland, or you are thinking about going in the wetland, are beneficiaries of these resources. But we don't want them to die. So if, for example, you have been depending on a wetland, we are saying, we are going to restore this wetland, and you actually end up getting even more than what you are getting. In many areas, for example, we are supporting people to construct fish ponds around the edge of the wetland. The wetland will be there. We support you to construct fish ponds, and many people are now getting a lot of money with that. We are supporting people even to harvest water and do some small-scale irrigation around the wetland, and many people are benefiting from that. We can actually, in some areas in southwestern Uganda, where they have many banana plantations, they need mulching material. We are getting people to get mulching material from a wetland. There are people are cutting materials. There are actually jobs are created. People are transporting materials and they are mulching. So they are getting money around there. Of course, also people can rear animals around. I was last month. I was in in Teso, northeastern Uganda, where a wetland called Kamorojo wetland had been degraded completely. We struggled to get people to get out of the wetland, but afterwards they got out. Now the wetland has been restored. The areas which were gardens now have come up. People have fish ponds. Now people are having sheep, goats, and cows, and they now have a lot of grazing land. So actually people were telling me that they are getting much more money than they were getting before. So sometimes it's an issue of mindset. Somebody say, I don't want to move. But in many areas, we are having options. Of course, Kampala poses a challenge that sometimes you may not have much you can do around the wetland. Many of the areas have been developed. And that's why we work with them to see what kind of activities can be done to enable you survive without being in a wetland. But when we reach a point of actually evicting, that's the last resort, where people have reached and they have refused, will not get out. They don't even want to listen to an alternative. And then you say, okay. Then the government comes in. So in the work we do, enforcement and evicting is the last resort, where somebody arrogantly has said, I will not get out. Well, I just want to give you an example. In Kenya, before I even come to Uganda case, in Kenya, they have constructed the road. There's a road from Nairobi to Mombasa, a highway. Now, people had encroached on road reserves. Even skyscrapers, all skyscrapers were brought down without any compensation. Now, if somebody has done something wrong in a place where it's not supposed to be, now if you start compensating them, you're actually motivating other people to come. And I think people need to know that. Idea that somebody is going to come and do what? And do the same. You have heard of situation where people hear a road is going to pass through this place, and then people immediately move and put their out because they want compensation. Once you have known that the road is going to pass there, we say, forget about it, you are losing. So I think government is not being unfair. So not just telling people, look, you knew this is a wetland, you went there. It's unfortunate, but you have to take action. And of course, everybody has been concerned about Uganda, that we have very good laws. But the challenge you have as a country is enforcement. And I think government is doing what Ugandans have been asking it to do, to enforce, so that we move. And what we are going to do is to make sure that we enforce across the board without any favoring anybody, so that we bring back this country. I think the country, if we don't take action, Uganda will not be there for us to live in comfortably. Everything is really not moving on well, and I think the actions that are being taken are in the right, taking the right course. People may suffer now, but we are sure that we are going to live a better life. We don't want to enjoy today and tomorrow we die. We would rather suffer today and then have a longer, enjoyable life. Right now, many people in Kampala and many areas are using pit latrines and septic tanks. So when it rains, because many of the areas in Kampala are lying areas, so the water level will go up. Again, when it comes and is moving very fast, the wetlands will reduce the speed at which it's moving. But because the water is coming up, it raises very fast, and you find that some of the pit latrine septic tanks are flooded. And then, of course, garbage around markets and all that, garages, everything goes in. So pollution is coming from many sources. But also we're having some industries which, unfortunately, especially at night, they want to discharge their wastewater which is not treated in water bodies because they want to save the cost of treatment and all of that. So again, it's a combination of things, and wetlands are very important also in ensuring that we reduce on the pollution. Obviously, we need to take action to make sure that we take the other action that pollute, but wetlands are key. And that's why I think as a country, we need to give attention to restoration and protection of the wetlands that have actually not yet been encroached. The public should know that access to safe water is a human right. We cannot live without water. But this water has to be available in the right quantity and quality. If we don't have water for drinking, we cannot survive. But we need water for bathing, we need water for drinking, we need water for cooking, washing, everything. But also we need water for even irrigation. We now are talking about doing irrigation where we have a lot of drought occurring. So water is very important. But as you get the water, you also have wastewater. That's where we need sanitation and hygiene. So they are very important, but water cannot occur in a vacuum. Water is part of the environment. And that's why when we are looking at provision of water, we say, where does the water come from? Where does it reach where I am? And that's why we are saying that water and environment, resources, development and management have to be looked at holistically. If you don't protect the environment, you'll have no water to provide. If you don't protect the environment, the quality of the water will be poor. And that's why I think whoever decided that you have a Ministry of Water and Environment was right. You need to protect the environment so that you have the water and the water available in the right quantity and quality. So I want to appeal to Ugandans, my colleagues, let's give attention to protection of the environment. Let's give attention to restoration of wetlands, riverbanks, and forests, so that we can have a country that has adequate water, good air, good food, energy, and everything we need so that we can move into middle income status. We are not going to move into middle income status with what we are doing. We have to really remember that it's not government alone, it's all of us. And I think whatever is being done, we may question how it is being done, but we need to come forward and support. Because Uganda is our country. Where shall we be if it is not a country one would be proud of? So let's join efforts. As government, we are there to work with everybody, and that's why we are creating partnerships. We want to create partnership with the media. Again, UBC would want to thank you for always profiling the programs of government and the ministry in particular. But we want to call upon all the partners to come forward and join the government so that we can make this country a place all of us can be proud of. Climate change is real. There's no question about this. We are already seeing the temperatures high. In many areas which used not to be hot, now you see they are hot. Even at night. These days you probably may not even need a blanket. So the climate change is real. Temperatures are going up, but also the rainfall is falling within a very short period, and a lot of it, and the seasons are changing. So climate change is real. Is affecting the way we are doing things. It is destroying when it is too much water, we get floods, and these floods can destroy infrastructure, can even kill people, destroy people's livelihoods. So we need to remember that climate change is here, and what we need to do as a country is to prepare ourselves to live with it. And that's why we talk about adaptation. So adaptation is about being able to live with these challenges. And some of these adaptation measures will involve restoration of wetland, tree planting, harvesting water even on the roof, on the land, improving on irrigation, ensuring that we have services, water and sanitation services that are climate resilient, so that we don't have, for example, a pit latrine that is going to be filled with water, flood water, and then pollutes the water. So I want to call upon Ugandans to remember that climate change is real, and it's us as individuals to be able to take action. And we have a number of programs going on all over the country to improve people's resilience to climate change and prepare them to be able to deal with the changing climate. Since September 2022, the president issued a directive that no license should be given in a wetland. So since September 2022, no license has been given. But there are those who had been licensed before 2022. Those might be the ones, and they had not started the investment. So again, people need to know that government has decided no more licensing of any activity in a wetland. The president, of course, has said that some factories which are there, we may not do much. We try to see how we can improve the way they do things, but nothing is being done with regard to licensing. So again, sometimes, people will depend on hearsay. Somebody will come and say, but if you have a factory, maybe one who may need to check and say, has it been licensed? Of course, if somebody was licensed at a factory before September 2022 and has been procuring equipment and all of that, and has brought the equipment in the country, you don't want to come and say, take it back. Those are the cases. But they were being instructed to make sure that we guide them on how to do activities in an environmentally sustainable manner. As of now, no. Since September 2022, no licensing. Because again, we note that wetlands really have all been destroyed. So let nobody think about going in a wetland. And as I said, if you are not sure whether you are in a wetland or not, just approach the Ministry of Water and Environment. And we have regional offices, by the way. We have 6 regional offices. We have an office in Mbale, we have an office in Mbarara, we have an office in Wakiso, an office in Fort Portal, an office in Irira, and an office in Karamoja. So you can come to the Ministry of Water and Environment here, but you can approach our regional offices, and our staff will be there to help you and support you and guide you. We are not there to penalize you. We are there to work for you because we are employed to provide services to Ugandans. So let people feel comfortable to come to us. We are not the police to arrest you. We shall not arrest you. Come forward so that you help us to serve you better. So my last remarks, first of all, I would like to thank UBC for always being available, really to give us a chance to talk to Ugandans and pass over these messages. We do appreciate. And I want to call upon Ugandans to remember that Uganda is our country. It is ours. Nobody is going to develop Uganda. Nobody is going to take action in Uganda. Once the government comes up with the programs that we are calling upon stakeholders to come and join in and support, we want all of you to know that we are not doing it because we want to hurt you. We are doing it because we want to serve you better. The taxes you pay are the ones which pay our salaries. And if we don't do what we are employed to do, then obviously you complain that we are not doing our work. So come forward and work with us. If there are things that we are not doing well, come forward and talk to us and we see how we resolve them. Of course, we can't be a perfect 100%, but we would want you to know that whatever we are doing it for the good of this country. So if you want to contact us at the Ministry of Water and Environment. Our headquarters are in Rosera. But also we have district offices, we have district water officers, every district. But also we have regional offices. We have an office in Mbale, we have an office in Moroto, we have an office in Mbarara, in Wakiso, in Irira, and the Fort Portal. So feel free to contact us where you need information.
Let's preserve the environment, especially the wetlands, to fight climate change. I am Kathy Ishimye. Remember, living a safe life is your right and responsibility. Stay safe.